Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast, the recap of Stage 7 of La Vuelta, beginning in Andorra la Vella this morning, and then going back into Spain, turning right, and then heading towards Aragon, going west. Big climb today, lots of climbing, 4,200 meters on the menu. The longest one was the Port de Canto, which is it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. And so it's really like, it's an attritional stage, 25Ks, 4.4%. It's irregular though. First 6Ks are hard, 8%, and then the rest of the climbing, 7, 8%. Big highways though, descent, 30K valley, then gradual climb up to 6K, 6%. It's a category 2 descent, another 10K valley, then the Col de l'Espina, 7K, 6%. And then descent, another uphill valley of 15 kilometers, and then the Cherla Huesca la Magia climb up to 1,910 meters. It's a staircase in 3 parts, 12K, 6%. The first 3 or 4 kilometers are 8%, the flat kilometer. Then there's 2Ks at 9.5%. That's the hardest part of the whole day. Then there's a descent of a kilometer, and then it's 3Ks at about, like 5%. And it's shallow at the finish. So good climb for numbers, good climb for a breakaway battle. Not the sort of climb you could make a difference here. You could, but not huge gaps.
I would say so as well, but I think we need to set the stakes from before the stage already to try and explain what the control situation is. Because yes, Jonas Vingegaard is the favorite, so if Joao Almeida ends up going into the early breakaway, then Visma will react. That's an obvious one, but that's an unlikely scenario. So who is going to control the stage mostly? Well, yesterday we had a new red jersey wearer, Torsten Traan of Bahrain Victorious, and he's actually with the perfect advantage on the others, which means that he's got on anyone that would go into the breakaway 4 to 10 minutes of a gap, I would say. Maybe 3 to 10 minutes. So that's a gap that Bahrain Victorious sees as okay. On the final climb alone, Torsten Traan can stay within that range from the C group. So as long as we control the breakaway to a gap where no one is dangerous for the GC, he should be able to keep that red jersey by the end of the day.
But they still want to break to win. You still want to break to win because you don't want the stage to be too hard, and you don't want the GC guys to really start going for the stage. You want them to chill out and not drop each other, and then in the last 3Ks, a group can just roll to the finish.
That's very good. That's right. And also, there's a side thing with Bahrain Victorious that they don't necessarily have the all-powerful control team because 2 of their other riders are also going for GC. So you basically have 8 riders within a team, minus 3 GC leaders. Technically, it's not. We don't equalize all of them. Like, I think Butrago, Tiberi are for the team, considered before the stage even still, above Torsten Traan, even though we'll see at the end of the stage if one of those riders might be worse than Torsten Traan on the final climb, but we'll get to that later. So they've got less domestiques on paper, and some of them might not survive the first half of the first climb to control over the top. So there's all these dynamics in it, and especially when there's one man that starts today's stage, knowing that yesterday he lost quite a bit of final climb, maybe some of it on purpose to the breakaway, we don't know, maybe his legs weren't good enough, Juan Ayuso. How do you feel about him going into the stage?
It's hard to know what he was gonna do. Maybe he was really, really bad. Maybe he just had a bad day and would do a Remco 2023. Today we saw very, very clearly that no one jumped in the GC group or like seriously, and then they got to the start of the climb. Juan Ayuso attacks from the bottom, and he just does the like Mads Pedersen style on the flat Tour de France break attempt where he's like, I'll just be a break of 1. And then eventually people will bridge to me. He eventually does this whole hour climb solo, and we forget he's there because the break battle behind him was just raging on this whole climb. It took until the descent for it to really form. We saw Ayuso had Vine jumping many, many times to get into the breakaway with him. And it was actually... Then Visma were reacting on Vine initially. Bahrain were reacting on anybody close. So I think Pellizzari jumped twice. Bahrain didn't like that. A few other riders were jumping. Bahrain didn't want a huge group. They sort of want a group of 8 to 12 max, not a group of 25 that you just cannot control. And not too many... Visma weren't jumping really in moves. They were following. We saw Jack Haig, basically, Benji just spoke about the short of numbers in Bahrain. Jack Haig had to do like this whole shift. He had to do this whole climb, kind of marking on the front for Bahrain, try and mark Pelizzari himself a couple of times. But it was curious to see Vine initiating behind because like someone else is going to jump.
Yeah. The way I see it is that once you have Juan Ayuso solo at the front, in his solo breakaway that is 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 25 seconds ahead, then Vine should be responding to riders attacking, try to follow them. In doing so, try to find his way into a larger breakaway together with Ayuso later in the race. That's the idea of the process. In this case, like you said, it was Vine initiating, quite a few other riders also initiating. Honestly, Patrick, I kind of thought that there were moments where I expected Visma to try something, because let's be honest about it. This is a stage where Bahrain Victorious is supposed to be controlling. And then you look at Visma, and they've got 3 leaders basically in this race. They've got Jonas Vingegaard, which I wouldn't expect to attack on the first climb. Kuss or Jorgensen as potential riders to go all a bit early in the race. So, for example, trying to slip in a breakaway. That was a possibility.
Yeah, this is the sort of stage, and we saw it on stage 6 or 7. That was 2 years ago when Kuss did win the Vuelta. That wasn't as, I think it was hillier rather than mountainous.
Yeah.
Although it was a hard climb at the finish where he beat Lenny. But yeah, they weren't jumping. Kelderman got dropped early, so maybe they were worried that they'd be short on numbers because Kelderman and Van Baal were out the back. And also, I don't think Bahrain would have liked it. Bahrain were going to defend this red jersey. I think they put it at a higher priority than Tiberi and Buitrago, actually. I think Bahrain really had it as a high priority because they took upon the stage like they almost had the favourite. It was nice to see. But eventually, Mads Pedersen, who got dropped on the 5K 8% section, he comes back. Then it's like a bit shallower on the end of this climb. He attacks, and then I was like, this is the break. If you get to Pedersen, because Pedersen's going to get to the downhill, he's going to smash it in through a corner. He's going to get on the back of a motorbike, and then the gap is going to explode. He's just going to pull full gas on the descent. That's what happens. He gets across to Ayuso. Vine follows Sean Quinn, Jardy Christian Vanderlee, Damien House and Tejada Roland, Nicolau, Garcia Piana, Kevin Vermarcus, Pilvida, Frigo. The closest on GC was Raul Garcia Piana on 5 minutes. The break was 13 guys for Bahrain. It's acceptable because they just then have to keep the break at like 4 minutes, more or less, throughout the day, which is okay. And then maybe Visma will help. Especially not wanting, Ayuso to take back the 7 minutes he lost yesterday. Yeah. And then that was the biggest fight of the whole stage, really.
That is true. And it was an enjoyable battle, I would say, on that entire first climb, having Ayuso 20 seconds ahead, then Pedersen even moving up, stuff like that. Like, it was an enticing battle to see how the break would form, whether Ayuso would stay up front, because we can't forget, this is a 24-kilometer climb with headwind on it, 4%. So if you're in the peloton for most of this, you benefit more draft than Juan Ayuso, even if he had a motorbike in front of him for a solid portion of the climb. He's still in the wind a lot of the time up front here, so it's quite an effort for him to brute force his way into the breakaway like this. And eventually that second group did start existing. It started existing with 12 riders in it. Jay Vine, Mess Pedersen, who was the first one to find his way to bridge over, I would say. He attacked about 4 kilometers before the top, I would say, and was 10 seconds behind Ayuso for quite a bit. But this 12-man breakaway, they had some chasers. Those riders didn't make it, and like you went through every single name of the breakaway, but this puts 2 UAE riders in this breakaway. The way I saw it was that on one end, Vine will always go for the K1 points here. Obviously, Ayuso took the ones on the first climb. Vine's going to take them on the next 2 climbs. But it was a slight question mark of what was going to happen for the final climb then, because Vine looks strong, both today, both yesterday. But Ayuso looked strong at the start of the stage, but spent an hour brute forcing his way into the breakaway. How much is that going to cost him?
Exactly, and he collapsed yesterday, or maybe just wasn't feeling it yesterday. So how do you know is he going to recover from that for the final climb? On class and talent, Ayuso should be unbeatable on this final climb. But if he's not in the best shape, then you don't know. And before we get to should UAE have done this in the first place, a word on our partner for today's episode, Pillar Performance. Pillar is a performance health brand built by sports scientists, dietitians, and elite athletes, all with one goal: to help you get to the start line in peak condition. Their creatine monohydrate features single origin CreaPure, made in Germany. It's the purest form of creatine on the market, and one of a few that's informed sport certified. That means it's batch tested and safe for competitive athletes. And why should endurance athletes take creatine? You're saying you're not Ronnie Coleman. Ain't nothing but a peanut. I used to love Ronnie Coleman squat bits, Benji. Benji's seen the law of me doing my clean and jerk personal best.
Yes, I've seen the lore of you weightlifting. Is calling it weightlifting disrespectful?
No, it's literally Olympic weightlifting.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you?
Bro lifted some weights.
Yeah, I had to do something with my life. But why should endurance athletes take creatine? It boosts energy production by helping replenish ATP, that's adenosine triphosphate, the primary energy currency that your cells like to use, giving you more punch in sprints. And it also enhances recovery. It helps reduce muscle damage and inflammation while speeding up glycogen replenishment. So to try out Pillar Performance Creatine Monohydrate, head to pillarperformance.shop, or if you're in North America, visit thefeed.com and use code ROUGE, ROUGE, for 15% off your first purchase. Should UAE be abandoning Joao Almeida, Benji?
Yes.
I agree.
They shouldn't be doing that as a whole. They shouldn't be abandoning Joao Almeida, which is also not what I feel like they did today. Yes, yesterday they sent Vine in the breakaway. Yesterday they sent Vine and Ayuso in the breakaway. But in doing so, they are doing it on stages where we don't expect time gaps of half a minute to a minute. I don't expect this to happen on Angliru or Bola del Mundo. That's a whole different story. And even then, it's not a crime to send one rider in the breakaway either. At the end of the day, the way I look at this Vuelta, even going into it, and now, Jonas Vingegaard is the favorite. UAE with Almeida is not the favorite. I hope he does really well, but he's not the favorite. And as a consequence, it's not a crime for UAE Team Emirates on stages where the time gaps are not going to be notable to send riders in the breakaway to secure some victories along the way, including secure potentially KOM jersey.
Exactly. Like, first of all, is Almeida going to drop Vingegaard on this stage? Probably not. If he's able to drop him on this stage, then then Almeida should win the Vuelta anyway. If you want to attack on this stage, I do think then it makes sense to have one guy in the break, not both. And then you have two real climbers, Soler and a Vine or Ayuso at a pace. But also, it's what Visma were trying to do in the Tour de France. If you have the second favourite and the first favourite's the heavy favourite, well, it's better to come second with now 3 stage wins already on the trot, spoilers, than come second with no stage wins. And is today going to make the difference? I mean, for Almeida to win, he needs Vingegaard to either have to crash out or get sick, or to just have a complete collapse on Angler or something.
I'm sorry, but I feel like after the stage we've had so far, including the ones we will have pretty soon, the 2 logarithmic stages that are coming, Patrick, those ones will not have big gaps either. So I look at those stages well and I think, okay, at this point, the way Vingegaard is riding as well, it looks like he's not necessarily burning any matches where unnecessary on these type of stages. We'll talk about the final climb, the GC group as well, which means that it's starting to feel like everybody's kind of waiting for Angliru, which is going to be a big defining moment. And perhaps something happens on the Pique Cote Vivero stage, on stage, I don't know which one, is it stage 10 or something, stage 11? But
11,
I think Angliru is the real defining moment that everybody's kind of waiting for, and I think UAE also realizes that the battle will most likely be fought there.
Yeah.
Visma as well.
Pretty much. So yeah, we see the race just turns into a holding pattern. Vine takes KOM points where he can. I think, did Mads Pedersen take the intermediate sprint points? That was why he was in the breakaway today. I still think, by the way, that Ciccone could have won yesterday and today. I think if Trek put both stages in play, I think Ciccone would have won one of them. Like, he lost the sprint to Vingegaard by this much because he looked around. It wasn't 2 bike lengths. So I was a little bit surprised that they didn't control one of them. Bahrain control all day. They keep the gap at 4 minutes. One time Vine goes ahead with Frigo, and then Ayuso's behind just to play numbers a little bit. We get to the final climb. The breakaway is on 3:30, and then Bahrain give the reins over to Visma. So then Visma will control the final climb. They had 6 riders, so it's Campenuts and Kelderman. And then Vine starts whacking it for Ayuso. So fully confident for Ayuso. They were never in doubt. Vine just sets a really, really hard pace for Ayuso. Ayuso attacks. Frigo goes with him. He bridges across. And he pulls with him. Why?
I don't know either, Patrick. I look at this final and I'm like, hey, this seems pretty climby. And I would argue that Ayuso is a better climber than Marco Frigo. I like Frigo. I like Frigo for medium mountain stages, stuff like that. Not for this parkour. For climbs that are 4% entirely, sure. But there's steep segments on this final climb, so it's not coming as a shock that later on the climb, Mr. Juan Ayuso drops Marco Frigo relatively easily when he wants to. So that defines the final climb also for this breakaway, because from that point onwards, Ayuso starts gaining time. Don't know if we mentioned it earlier. Vine took basically all the KOM points before this climb, except for the first climb, which went to Ayuso, of course, because he was the solo rider ahead. But Ayuso kept expanding his gap, and once Frigo was dropped and there was no sign of anyone else coming back from behind, I'm sorry, but books closed. Juan Ayuso wins his second Grand Tour stage victory of the year. 3 if you count the team time trial, but I refuse to. But for a guy that's being stamped as watched every day of the week, I feel like he might be pretty happy about getting the victory today after yesterday. But what does that mean relative to yesterday? Because we can talk about Ayuso's stage win. With Remco, it was more obvious that he completely capitulated, you know?
Ayuso, I mean, he dropped from a group of 40 and then lost 7 minutes yesterday.
I think he realized on the climb that he wasn't going to be good enough, or he realized that he wasn't good enough, and he made sure to lose enough time to be able to go in the breakaway today.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the level difference compared to yesterday is too much.
Yeah, it's a huge, exactly. Like, he did the first climb for an hour solo. He then just rides away from strong guys in the break. Like, Frigo's a strong rider. This climb does average 5%. I said Frigo shouldn't have pulled. He shouldn't have. But Ayuso puts him on. Ayuso puts him on a minute 15.
Yeah,
he puts him on a minute in 5Ks.
Ayuso is also good at climbs that are not necessarily the greatest percentage either. You know, there's a reason he can win time trials.
Like the last 3Ks at 6%, he can motor. So, I don't know. His celebration, he put his fingers in his ears.
I'm not hearing the haters, is what I read.
I think it's saying blocking out the noise. Cool to see him win.
Yeah.
And how many wins does he have this season?
My guess is 5.
7 wins, 5 at World Tour level.
Okay, well, we don't count the Mickey Mouse races anymore these days, no?
So,
but
it's a good day for UAE. I mean, what else are they supposed to get out of it? They get Vine extends KOM lead. Ayuso wins.
Wait, the most important part is still coming. The most important part, because in the GC group, behind all this breakaway action, we've got an attack by Joao Almeida with about 3.7k to go. You mentioned the pacing going on there, and we see some action there with Vingegaard and Ciccone following, stuff like that. Eventually, this gets grasped together because no one really relays with Almeida. There was a move by Kuss. Ciccone closes that. York sets a bit of a controlling tempo. But I wanted to bring it to the final moment, Patrick. Marc Soler attacks in the last kilometer. That's an important moment.
Why not?
I like it.
Like Visma were trying to sky train around. They're like, it was beautiful to watch. Just, I felt like I was watching 2013 Sky. Just 6 guys on the front, defensive, and they had Jorgensen pacing, and Soler's like, let me get some free time back. Soler's still in GC,
Yeah.
so maybe Soler can be the real second GC threat. He's their 4th best climber probably, but why not? But why not have a dig? I mean, anyway.
Like, why not have a dig? I agree with you there. I am also of the opinion that I'm not sure what it brings towards the team. Because, yes, Soler could top 10 in GC this way, which I'm happy for Soler. But the team goals here should be, let's make sure that Almeida at least top 2s the GC of this Vuelta. We'll try to win it if we see an opportunity somewhere. And next to that, secure KOM with Vine. Try and go for 2 more stage wins with, whether it's Vine or Ayuso. Not necessarily on the Angleros and Bola del Mundos of the world. That's where I'd like to see more support around Almeida, because that's where...
But there it's less important.
You're right, there it's less important because it's steeper, but here it's also not that important, because what are you going to gain for having Ayuso on this climb for Almeida?
See, I kind of agree with where you were going with, like, to me, this is starting to feel like the Giro again with UAE, where every day we were starting to be like, okay, like there's a lot of different ambitions and goals here. And we already said some are fair enough. Jay's going to go for KOM and stages. Ayuso's going to go for stages from the break. And then, so that's okay. That's okay on this stage.
The Soler one is too much for me.
Then Soler riding to defend his own GC, now it's too much.
Now it's McNulty.
Yeah, because, okay, Almeida wanted to attack today. He felt good. He felt good. It was a good attack. Like it was just shallow gradients. He had Ciccone and Vingegaard in the wheel. What's he going to do? He's not a guy that's super explosive. But then you've just got Soler to do the lead out. Soler does the lead out, but not all in. Not all in.
Correct. Are we not seeing the big picture, Patrick? Are we forgetting about the mythical team classification, which I don't see how they'll win it with Kuz and Jorgensen being in Vingegaard's team? I don't know what the actual team classification is going into the stage even. It was UAE Team Emirates yesterday already after stage 6.
UAE by 6 minutes because they got 2 break wins in a row. Because remember, the break guys take the time.
Because for the people that don't know, team classification is not your 3 best riders in GC. It's your 3 best riders each stage. So your riders in the breakaway, that might be a half an hour behind. That advantage on Vingegaard on the other Visma riders still counts. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not necessarily the most caring person about the team classification, but I've noticed that teams care about it. And then we also have to acknowledge that they do. And
I think he's Soler for his own top 10.
I think so too. And he might have the freedom just because it's the Vuelta a España. Yeah. And I agree with you that might be the ambition too much, that it's a bit of energy spent on Soler. It's a bit of energy spent of that domestique. But I am okay with securing stage victories on stages where there's not going to be larger. Like, I don't see how Almeida having Ayuso and Vine in the peloton helps him attack Vingegaard or Ciccone here. I do see how it could help him keep Bernal behind, the riders like that definitely behind. So securing the podium, the top 3 would have been possible. But with the level I see from Almeida, I expect them to do that anyway.
That's the,
you never
that's
know,
the
of
risk.
Course, eh?
That's the risk, because then what if Felix Gall goes crazy on these ramp-ass finishes?
Yeah.
You know, you got the 5K 12%ers coming up on Anglerus, so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Vingegaard was defensive when Kus attacked. Ciccone responded to him, but yeah, that was it. Ayuso wins, Frigo second, Garcia Pierre in a third. That's got to be his best Grand Tour result. Tejada fourth, Quinn fifth, Vermarca sixth to UAE next year, Sepulveda seventh, Baruch Roland eighth, Marc Soler ninth, 5 seconds ahead of Pidcock, who brings home the GC group, which is everyone you might expect, including Le Cerf and Torsten Train. So Torsten Train actually, where was Santi?
Santi finished high up, I think, but Tiberi was dropped, if I recall.
So Train drops Santi, and
You're right.
Tiberi loses 14 minutes 50.
Yeah, well, but Trago being 2 seconds behind, I wouldn't say it's massively dropping, but you're right.
No,
but
3
Tiberi
minutes.
is the story
No,
here.
no, Santi's a minute behind.
Wait. Yeah, you're right. It's 2:35 and 3:37. I read 2:37 for some
Tran
reason.
is their GC. I'm telling you, Tran is their all-out GC leader now.
Yeah,
on merit.
He literally is. Because the way he climbed today, I did not expect either. I expected him to be maybe in the Butrago group there.
Yeah.
Or the group behind that even. I just didn't expect him to lose 2 minutes. I expected him to keep red, but the way Torsten Tran climbed today was really, really strong. And we're not done with that yet, I reckon, either. Leclerc is also from the GC group, right?
Yeah.
That's also really strong.
I mean, I had 2 photographers in the race staying with me last night, Zach Williams and Harry Talbot, or Visuals of Harry, so go and check them both out on Instagram. Yeah, great guys, great photography. But the funniest thing, Zach showed me this morning when we were having a coffee, he showed me Torsten Tran's interview like yesterday. It's the most Scandinavian thing I ever saw in my life. It was like, yeah, I had the cancer, and it was not good. And then I had a concussion, also not good. But now I take the red jersey. It's like, fuck. He's like, it was a small roller coaster. A small roller coaster, mate. But I love it. I love it. He sounds super resilient. It was a great interview. And I really, really like when guys like this get their chance to for the limelight.
Also, another story that I want to bring towards you. You're speaking about Tiberi. David Gaudu lost 14 minutes as well.
Let's go.
Let's go. I made my wife change her Velogaze team, taking Gaudu out for Fortunato. And there we go.
Oh,
who's
no.
15 GC? Lorenzo Fortunato.
That's no good. You know who has Torsten Tran in their Villa games?
My wife.
Me.
You as well.
Yeah.
Are you my wife?
Could be work-wise.
This is getting weird.
What was I going to say? Oh, Mikel Landa. It's another daily Mikel Landa, right? So Landa finishes in the Santi group. He loses a minute. And listen, like, it's a group with Junior Leclerc in it. It's not, all due respect, it's a group of 15 in the GC group. They were chilling. He loses a minute. At the finish line, he collapses. He's fucked. When he was dropping, I was like, and it's his career. It's his race. He can do exactly what he wants to do.
Leclerc is in the group ahead. Leclerc was bigger.
Yeah. Leclerc is climbing better than Landa. I was like, if you're getting dropped by a minute here, just lose, because then he loses a minute, and now he's still on 4:59, so he's still only 2.5 minutes off Vingegaard.
Ooh, do you think they see a possibility for Leclerc to take white?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe Landa was staying with Leclerc for that reason. I'm just trying to find an excuse.
Riccitello will take white.
He's climbing better.
He will win it, yeah. But yeah, I think Leclerc will go for the best GC result possible. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Landa can do what he likes. It's just like, please lose a bit more time and go on the break. I would love to see him win. Would love to see him win. But not like this. Okay, tomorrow's stage to Zaragoza. It was supposed to be, this can be like a crosswind stage, very open areas. It's 164 Ks, no categorized climbs. We have one intermediate sprint with also bonies there. They do go through the finish line and then they go back around. So it is a circuit around Zaragoza. And yeah, there could be crosswinds. I'm not sure what the forecast is. I haven't heard much chatter about it on Twitter and social media, so maybe they're not happening. Pedersen still wants to go for green, obviously. He's in green. He extended his lead today. So
from the break.
Yeah, where is he on green? Pedersen's 22 points ahead of Vernon. Phillipson's still here? Yep.
He's still in the race.
He's having a tough race. Like, Phillipson's climbing really bad.
But he needs
like,
to get to the next sprint stage.
Yeah, he's not in good shape.
Which, if it's a sprint tomorrow, then it's Phillipson.
Yeah, Phillipson should be the favorite. Pedersen will want to... I don't see it for Pedersen, actually. I don't see it. If there's crosswinds, Trekker got to try split it, because that's the best way for Pedersen to win the sprint. That's how he won the Paris-Nice sprint.
Do we know how steep that hill is? The Parque de Atracciones de Zaragoza with about 10k to go? Is that a real climb?
Nah, that's dribble.
It's dribble, so if Patrick says it's dribble, then it ain't gonna make the difference here.
Yeah.
I don't think Pedersen's gonna be dropping Philipsen on that one.
Or Vernon. Or Vernon or whoever. I mean, let me have a look. I say it's dribble, maybe it's like a ramp. I doubt it.
Rampa Inhumana, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
It's actually a little bit steep. Oh,
Okay.
I lied.
Called it. Nonetheless, there's a bend in the last kilometer, right?
It's 300 meters at 11%. I don't think you're going to drop Philipsen. 300 meters. The finish is, of course, got a bend. It's obligatory around to the left, so it just keeps bending. And yeah, I think Philipsen will win. I think Plancard, they get it right this time, and he wins.
I think so too. I'm also picking Philipsen. I do think Vernon will be close. I feel like Vernon's been solid this race so far. So I am looking forward to a sprint actually for once again. But to be honest, afterwards, there's not too many of these flat sprint stages. So we have to cherish them when they come.
Exactly.
And after that, I'm also very hyped for the next two stages. The logarithmic stages are coming, Patrick. Are you hyped?
No, I'm not hyped. They're going to be terrible.
I actually, we're already previewing stages that are coming, which is silly.
UAE's going to win. UAE's going to win both of them.
From the break. Yeah. With Vine and with Ayuso.
Like Trek.
And
man.
Portuguese Twitter will be on fire.
Chicone is like what? Chicone is like one of the. He has very little support. Like he could win 9 and 10 from the GC group. So anyway, that's all I got to say. Tour de l'Avenir finished today. Both men and women. Paul Seychelles won. He won the final TT. Jana Widar won 2 stages. This morning stage was really exciting on Direct Velo ticker, but there was no live coverage. The final podium was Seychelles Widar by 4 seconds ahead of Nordhagen. On the climbing stages, Seychelles, Nordhagen, Widar, Ramirez, Torres, Finn were pretty much inseparable, so it was quite exciting actually, and they're all very, very talented. And then in the women's, we had a very comfortable victory by Isabella Holmgren. She won the prologue, she won this morning's mountain stage, and she won this afternoon's mountain time trial. She wins GC by 2 minutes on Bunel. The breakout rider is Talia Appleton. She's 19 from Australia, gravel rider, did Cadell's, some other races, but yeah, she comes third on GC and second in the uphill TT. Pretty impressive. Yeah,
super impressive. And these are the races that you need to follow for the people that don't necessarily are ingrained in the youngster races and U23 junior stuff. Tour de l'Avenir is basically the Tour de France for U23 riders. That's how it's perceived. And that's where you see these riders that will be the stars of the future. Marion Bunel was already a star for Visma Lease bike, playing a very relevant role on the Madeleine for Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, doing a pool, being in the breakaway in that stage. So you see that there. Isabella Holmgren, Ava Holmgren, that duo for Little Trek, also super strong. I think they both extended as well for the team now. Laura de Schepper, Belgian, so I also want to bring her to the forefront a little bit. I also expect a pretty bright future for her. Paola Blasi, who is arguably having a very good season, I think. No? I think she was close in Romandy. She didn't win it, but I swear top 5 in Romandy as well, which
she won a stage.
We're talking about 22, 21, 20-year-olds that are already competing in World Tour level at some of the highest levels. So
yeah, but
definitely follow these races.
She was just an amateur.
Yeah.
This time last year.
Yeah.
She joined the UAE dev team this year, and then they bumped her up in May because she was so good to the full team. I mean, she was just riding like Catalonian local, she won the local races and some .pro races. So,
bright future ahead on both the men's and the women's side, that's for sure.
Yep. So that was, I thought pretty exciting. Otherwise, we have
Tour Poitou-Charentes. Are we going to go in depth?
Nah. Samuel Leroux wins GC because of his TT yesterday. Godon wins the final stage. Ineos later signing, which we'll talk about, but he's not able to overhaul him. Malaysia third on Arkea because of his TT. He's got to be the brother of Lorenzo Malaysia on Movistar. He comes third.
I don't actually know. He probably is.
Must be. He must be. We have
There can't
Britannia
be two people with
Classic
the same name.
and an Italian TT specialist. Come on, have to be.
So Nicolas Milesi was born in Inclusone, and Lorenzo Milesi was born in. Trying to figure it out. Which village are you from? San Giovanni Bianco. I don't know if this is close to each other.
Yeah,
This
but they could
research
have
was
moved
useless.
in between the births.
How old is Lorenzo Milesi? He's 23, and Nicolas Milesi is 21. So in those 2 years, the parents would have had to move, which is not completely unrealistic. This investigation shall continue off the record, I think.
They must be related. Otherwise, we have GP Plouay this weekend. The women's is tomorrow. Very strong start list. We have Balsamo, Henderson for Trek, Labou, Wollaston for FDJ, Bredevold, Van der Brecker, Vaas for ST Works, Ferron Prevost, Voss for Visma Lisa Bike, Lippert, Ferguson. It's a very, Kim Lacourt, Pina. It's a stacked start list, so I will be watching that.
Yeah, I'll be watching that as well, and especially because if echelons don't happen in the Vuelta stage, that could be just a sprint stage. So time to watch both of them, and we'll talk about the men's one tomorrow, I think, when it comes to the preview. So yeah, all good. How are you feeling about this Vuelta so far? I feel like we're warming up.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. I mean, they backloaded it. We've got the angle. They've got very, very hard mountaintop finishes coming. I'm not surprised that there's been little GC action on these climbs. Like they end too soft. So you don't even get a sprint. They're all, like yesterday, 4% finish. Today, 4% finish. So you're just not going to get them riding full to the line if their level is close. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, it's been a slow burn so far. And we'll see. I don't think that will change this week. I think we'll have to wait till next week for that to start changing. But yeah, hope you enjoyed as always. And we'll see you with a recap of Stage 8 tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.